What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to SoCal Exploring. Welcome back to the Keep Exploring podcast. Whether you're watching this on YouTube, hey, how are you guys doing? Or you're listening to this on Spotify, thank you guys for joining us today. Today's a fun one. Our guest is a big one, a very special guest. So I'm going to introduce you guys to him. He has over 60,000 YouTube subscribers. His Instagram is at the Theme Park Shark, covering theme parks from across the nation, whether it be the East or the West Coast. He always stays up to date with the latest and greatest news between parks like Disney World or even Universal Studios, and sharing through podcast videos and blogs. The Theme Park Shark has it all. Please welcome our guest today, Dustin from the Theme Park Shark.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, we're going to be talking today all about Avengers Campus. We're first going to be starting off with a little bit on how Dustin got the channel started, so you guys can learn a little bit about him, because he's fairly new to the channel. Usually you see my normals that are guests on the podcast or to the channel in general. So Dustin is new. He is a new virtual friend of mine. We haven't met in person yet, but we will soon once the parks open back up. So that'll be fun stuff. One thing I want to ask you is, what's it like being a part of the theme park community? Both the very, very good side and some cons to it.
Well, it's amazing. I think it's just cool at all that a community exists around something that both of us love so much, which is theme parks. I've been involved in it as far as just, I guess, from a Twitter sense from, quite some time now, probably like 2012, 2013, where I was reading forums, I was actually trying to get heavier involved into theme parks. But I didn't obviously come around on YouTube until last year, but man, it's a blast just to be a part of this community. And the fact that there is a community that's so passionate about theme parks, it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean it's a great community. A lot of people are a part of it, so you have tons of opinions, which I think is a good mix between a good thing and a bad thing. A lot of people are opinionated, but it's good to see it from different sides of, like, when new attractions come or theme parks come up with different decisions and such. And I think that you have done a good job establishing your role in the theme park community, staying up to date with, like I said in the intro, both the East Coast and the West Coast. So that's really neat that you're covering both. That's something that I'm trying to do, but I mean, I'm only one person, so it's really hard. You got a good team. Tell me what it's like having a team to cover all these different parks for you.
So that was kind of a really interesting thing. When it first started, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do it, but I had a really good friend in Orlando named Jake. And as I was kind of putting it together and deciding whether or not I wanted to create a YouTube, I approached him. I said, hey, would you be interested in making videos with me? Is this something you'd want to do? And he said, yeah, I'd be interested. I guess he had been doing it for a few years prior, but never, had a channel that took off or anything, but he was really interested in it. So it just kind of really came together, and I said, we're going to do something unique. We're going to do something kind of different. I don't see it a lot. Usually accounts or just general YouTubers kind of focus on one coast. So I said, if we come together, let's try to make an account where someone can find both in one spot and kind of get to know the both of us as best as possible. I've kind of taken a lead role and kind of like come to the front of the account for the most part, but just for the fact that I do have Jake, and I do even have more members of a team that help with the website, it's really fun, and it's really cool knowing that if something is going to happen across the country, that there is a chance that we're going to be able to cover it in some sense. So that's probably one of the most rewarding aspects of it, I would say.
Yeah, I think you lucked out, because Jake seems like he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a couple of your Orlando videos, and he's really good at going out and covering, even if it's a short video. He keeps you informed.
Definitely.
So I think that you've established not only a good friendship, but a good bond between this channel, between you and Jake. So that's really neat. And like, if there's any events going on in Orlando, like you said, you have someone out there that can cover it for you. So that's also a really good thing. What is the ultimate goal with the Theme Park Shark? What do you want to turn it into? Because you've already established this kind of like network between all the theme parks. So what's the next step from here?
I think what I would like to see is, like, I want an overall umbrella company almost. I want to see us grow our Instagram presence. I want to see us grow our website presence. I want to have a community on our website, whether it be through forums or whatever it ends up being, where people actually want to come back and have discussions with each other. I just want to be an actual place. I want to be an established spot that's more than just a YouTuber, because I think we've kind of made a name for ourselves especially myself, as being a YouTuber for the Theme Park Shark. But I think at the end of the day, I do want the Theme Park Shark to be kind of a larger and kind of a more broad media company where maybe even one day it even expands outside of theme parks and it goes into overall attractions and just things that people enjoy, or maybe even some sort of entertainment aspect. I think I would just like to see it keep growing as a place of news, and maybe one day expand beyond theme parks. But as of right now, I want the YouTube to be really solid. I want to keep building a relationship with my viewers. That's something that I didn't do early on. I kind of posted a lot of point of views, and I did a lot of voiceover videos, so there was never really a face to the account. So I think in the immediate future, I'd like to keep building a relationship with my viewers. But yeah, down the line, I think I'd like to just keep growing it and see what it can become as far as like a news outlet.
And it's interesting because me and you have talked privately about this. I kind of relate to a lot because you're trying to essentially like build this brand for yourself with the theme park shark.
Yes.
and sometime in the near future go past theme parks potentially, which I think is really neat because although the theme park community is big and everything, it's cool to have around everything somewhere along the lines of like the Tim Tracker, how he does like all different attractions and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I think it'd be cool to cover other attractions for myself in Southern California other than just like theme parks. I like to go to museums and such, and I can see that you're trying to do that with the theme park shark, which is really neat. What is the struggles? Because like you said, you wanted to start off early, building more interaction with their fans and such. What is the struggles now of having to constantly, like if some news comes out, turn the camera on and film right away and get that video out as fast as possible, as the same good quality as possible as well?
There's this constant battle, and I think it's not just me; it's any YouTuber, and I think you'd probably attest to this as well. There's a constant struggle between deciding whether something that comes out really fast and first is going to be great, or is kind of slowing down, taking in the facts, and making the best possible video in whatever time frame that ends up taking you. There's kind of like a a little seesaw that we kind of try to balance. And at the end of the day, you kind of have to weigh out saying what's going to be the best thing that this video can offer. Is it going to be speed, or is it going to be something that down the line people are going to want to come back and watch, and they're going to want to see a good video instead of one that was put out fast? So, of course, I'm at the point where I try to make good, fast videos.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at right now.
But that's always easier said than done. So I think for me, I try to prioritize fast when it needs to be fast and quality when it needs to be quality. And then if there's a balance, I try to balance it. But for the most part, I kind of take that on a situational basis. I try to decide when things need to be fast and when they don't need to be fast. But for the most part, I would say across the board on my account, unless it's a brand new like ride that opened and I'm trying to get a point of view out. If it's news or something in that other sense, I tend to post on other accounts first. Maybe it's our Instagram or our Twitter, and just make that like the quick news source. And then if it's the YouTube, I kind of slow down and make it a little more spread out and try to focus on
more
the quality
detailed.
a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like that, and I think people like that balance because people get to see the news on your social media or wherever you can get it out faster without the tons of details, and then they can get the anticipation of a YouTube video coming out within the next day or within the next couple hours that's fully detailed and amazing quality. So
my website team has become like I've really kind of buckled down on them and kind of like created the team that I want over the last week or two.
Mm-hmm.
And just for things that have been happening over the last week or two, they've become really good at pushing out articles on that really fast. So that kind of takes the pressure off me too from a YouTube standpoint, thinking that I need to rush videos. So I'm as we've kind of progressed, I'm kind of letting them handle the speed aspect of things. Yeah. With
I've seen that you're pushing out articles here and there, and that's all your team, and it's really, really impressive how fast those articles get out and how well detailed they are. But it's like you go back to saying it takes a little bit of struggle off you because of the whole YouTube standpoint.
Right.
I can relate to that because I try to get these articles out as much as possible because that's what a lot of these theme parks want to see is the articles more than anything, because that's what gets to the viewers the most. It's where you can get the most details out. But at the same time, I'm trying to, as a YouTuber, trying to create that YouTube video for people. So it's a hard struggle, and I think that you having that team is really good to pull that stress off you so you can focus on YouTube a little bit as well.
Another thing is I am not a fast video editor.
Yeah, I know some people are. So I suck at editing videos fast.
Like, I am by no means a quick video editor. So even if I wanted to get videos out quick, there's a good chance I'm probably not going to be quicker than someone who is a quick video editor and doing the exact same topic at the exact same time as me. So I've given up on that for the most part, at least on YouTube. I try to just slow it down and make the best thing I can.
Yeah, I mean, you do good at getting them fast. I mean, I saw you at Hornights when like I knew the face, I just didn't know exactly who you were. But I saw you
Right.
at Hornights and Starbucks like editing away the walkthroughs. So
That was me. Yep, that was
yeah,
me.
I'm sure you try your best at it. But I mean, we all have those struggles as YouTubers, like whether it be being on camera or editing fast or whatever it is. We all have some type of struggle.
Right.
But it's just how YouTubers are. None of us are perfect.
True.
But I mean, it seems like you're doing really good though. I mean,
Thank you.
60,000 subscribers. You've grown super fast, and
Absolutely.
you've grown such a good fan base around you. So I'm really happy for you about that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Before we dive into our topic, make sure to follow us on Instagram at SoCal Exploring Media on Instagram, at SoCal Exploring on Twitter. Subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, or follow us on Spotify so you don't miss when we upload podcasts like this with more special guests in the theme park community. Dustin, where can they find you before we dive into Avengers?
Find me on Instagram at Theme Park Shark, Twitter at Theme Park Shark, Facebook.com/Theme Park Shark. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Theme Park Shark. Literally, if you just type in Theme Park Shark, you'll probably find us
There
somewhere.
you go. It'll pop up. It's a little shark logo.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So Avengers Campus, despite Disneyland being closed, was originally scheduled to open on July 18th, but I'm hearing rumors that construction has actually gotten pushed back. Any
Yeah.
word on that?
Just today, ironically, I started getting more and more word based upon new, I guess, precautionary measures that are being issued by the state. I don't know if it was 10 people or what exactly it was at this point, but that last one that they just kind of put in over the last 24 hours, I think has kind of been an official tipping point as far as construction crews and stuff from what I've heard. So, man, it was kind of funny. The second these things closed, I started thinking to myself, the second that Disney has any trouble, whether it be they have to halt construction or whatever it is, this project's going to be in for it. Because from the beginning, even as they were moving already, I already felt it was going to be a very tight squeeze.
And do you see like how like I don't know, to me they've just been kind of slow on construction for Avengers. It's weird.
When I go to the park and when I look at that thing and I remind myself like, wow, this is supposed to be open in the summer. I wouldn't believe that unless the park had actually come out and said that, and of course they have.
Exactly, yeah.
So if they didn't say that, and like just like like maybe other people in the community or fans or whatever were trying to tell us that, I would say they are liars. I'd be like, that is not happening.
Yeah, I mean, because they have been, you could see the building, and it's not like any other construction update season. Is like you go to California Adventure and you're like, oh wow, look, there's a new tile that's new. Whereas if you go to Universal, it's like, look, the facade's up or the facade's revealed. And I was kind of confused because, like you said, they're opening in summer. And, I mean, do they have enough done to open in summer? And I feel like they've been working on a lot of the interior more than anything. Because when you go out to the park, every single week, there's not really anything new.
You're exactly right. And I feel like that's something that you're probably spot on about. Because for me personally, if we're being completely honest, I'm very used to Universal's construction process. I've studied Universal's construction progress probably more than any other theme park company in the world. And if anything, I am noticing that they don't work at similar speeds. They don't even They don't even attack their projects similarly. So, if I've taken anything from this, if Disney is pulling this off, like let's say none of this ever happened and they were just moving, as normal right now, they definitely seem to proceed and work in different areas and at different speeds, and that's the one thing that I've taken, especially from this construction, if in fact it is opening in the summer, which, man, they're going to be under a very tight timeline.
And
now,
that pushes me to my next question. Do you think now with the halt of construction, will we actually be open in July, or do you think it's going to be like August, September?
It's going to be so tough, and I think it also depends on when they can get their crews back. If they can get their crews back soon, and let's say the park is still closed, like, I don't know, like maybe they'll lighten up on restrictions, but it'll still be at a point where they can't exactly open up the park for guests, right? If we can get to that point where some full crews can start working again around the clock, I think they have a good chance. It's just how long is this particular part of the virus, I guess, going to last? That's going to potentially cause some issues. So it's kind of, I'd be trying to predict the future and what's going to happen over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that's why it becomes tough. But as of right now, I would say they're in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, right now it's really, really bad right now as far as the restrictions goes. So, like you said, if they're able to get people in there within the next couple weeks and the park's still closed, they can definitely take advantage of that, because they can obviously do a little bit more when the park's closed as far as construction goes. I mean, they could even have the gates wide open if they wanted to, to haul stuff in. But honestly, I don't think, unless they were to get construction workers back in there within a week, I don't think that we're going to have a July 18th opening day. It could still be in July. I
Yeah.
just don't think it's going to be the 18th. I don't know. There's too much testing to go on and everything, and there's too much that looks like needs to be done. But who knows? I could be wrong. They could be nearly already done,
I agree.
and we
with
just
you.
don't know it.
No, trust me. Like everything that you are saying, I agree with you. I think they are in for it unless they can get back on track soon. Because man, even the way it was working before all this started, I already thought it was a tight squeeze. So
Yeah, that they were going to be delayed a little bit. It's like, Disney was so excited and they announced the opening day, and then like a couple days later, the closures happened and the virus started to get like a bigger deal, which
Yeah.
is just unfortunate, really.
Yeah. Ironic. Strange timing.
Yeah, but Disney has released the name of their anticipated Spider-Man attraction. So
Yeah.
Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure, and their exactly my reaction to that name. But tell me what you think about the overall essence of the ride now from what they've released, because they've released that there's going to be gesture tracking where
Yeah.
it basically tracks your shoulders, basically your whole body essentially, so you can shoot the webs and interact with the ride. And that's really about it as far as movement goes. Tell me a
Sure.
little bit what you think about the whole attraction.
I think when I first heard about this ride, I wasn't expecting it to go this route completely. When I first heard about it, I thought it was going more in the sense of Midway Mayhem with Toy Story, obviously. I thought it was going to be, there was going to be some sort of physical prop or element that you had to utilize to get your web out. So the fact that we are hearing that it looks like there is no physical element, it's just, your own wrist and some 3D glasses to make it look like it's coming out of your wrist. I think that was one of the most surprising elements that I've heard. To me, the success of this ride is going to buckle down to how much of the ride is physical. We know Toy Story is a success. We know people enjoy it. But for me personally, when I'm thinking about like a superhero attraction, I think I kind of want some cool physical elements. So I don't know. I don't know how much that could necessarily extend to, but maybe, there's something right off screen where, you did something and it had an effect. Who knows what it could end up being. But as far as where we're at and what we're hearing, and just the fact that there is no element on you, I think that's kind of cool. But it's gonna come down to how realistic does that effect look.
It's weird because I feel like if they do a good upkeep with the ride, because this is one of the rides that you really need to upkeep, especially with there being no physical thing that you need to shoot. It's just all based on
Right.
tracking. I'm assuming there's going to be a couple sensors attached to your vehicle. So if they keep up with the ride as far as refurbishments go and everything, I think it'll be a great success.
Yeah.
I personally would like to see just a normal dark ride with different effects. Like they can still do screen effects and 3D effects. I just would have liked to see a traditional dark ride other than a shooting game. But it
Right.
seems like Disney's trying to go more of the hybrid, wouldn't you say, of a traditional dark ride and a shooting game in a way.
Based on what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, concept art I've seen, it does seem that way. I think the queue looks pretty cool. So across the board, I think it does look pretty darn cool. It does look like you were saying, like it potentially might be a hybrid. I think time will tell. We'll have to see a little more, press releases and hear some more just to kind of be for sure. But based on concept art, it does look that it could be going that route, and that's kind of the route that I was hoping it would go. And I think the other important thing to remember is that this isn't the A attraction of the
Oh
land.
yeah, it's not. This is like the Millennium Falcon of the
Yeah,
land.
this is Millennium Falcon. This is, I don't know, Hippogriff in Wizarding World.
Yeah,
Like,
there you go.
this isn't the A attraction. So man, if this attraction turns out good at all, I think that's
That's a
yeah,
plus.
that's icing on the cake. That's nice.
Yeah, and with the go back to the concept art, with the concept art of the ride vehicles, do you see this having the movement of something like Transformers?
I wouldn't necessarily come in and say that it wouldn't, because if it, like I said, it's a superhero attraction. It has to have the elements of being superhero-y. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. You
it's
have to
gotta
be
a little
jumping around,
physical.
especially with Spider-Man. You're gonna be jumping from building to building, etc.
Exactly. It's kind of funny though that you mentioned Transformers, because obviously that's the same ride system as Universal's Spider-Man.
Essentially, exactly like the Transformers ride vehicles, what it looks like, and it's funny because Universal Orlando has a Spider-Man attraction that
Right.
uses the same ride system as Transformers. So it's a pretty funny coincidence. As far as movement goes, like you were saying, it's a superhero ride, so there has to be some form of movement, and I think that Disney hasn't released the writer's requirement for it yet, but I'm assuming that there will be a bit of movement. Not a lot, but Disney would really miss their mark if they didn't put at least a little bit of thrilling movement in a superhero Marvel ride.
Right.
I mean,
I guess it comes down to how family friendly they really want it to be. Or
yeah, I mean, but it's a Marvel. Disney's got to realize that. They got to realize that this is Marvel has a fan base, just same as Star Wars. Star Wars has a fan base.
True.
So who knows? We'll see when it opens. A couple of other things that Disney released is that there's going to be an outdoor shaded queue. As far as the Bugs Life Theater goes, which is where Spider-Man's is being placed, the former Bugs Life Theater, that actual building in that overall area is kind of small. So do you think that this could be because of how small that area is, or do you think that there's just going to be an extended outdoor queue like Millennium Falcon?
I'm not quite sure, and I think that's one of the big questions of this area. That's something that will kind of be answered in time, but it would make a lot of sense if that were the case. It's just, I think it's one of those things we still have to kind of wait out and see why that would be. Me personally, I'm not sure. I really don't know.
It's funny because it's such a weird area to put Avengers Campus. I thought that they would have gone the route of just destroying Hollywood land in general, but it looks like Bugs Land is the land, and especially if they're building an e-ticket attraction for the Quinjet, it's going to be quite interesting to see that they picked that area. But I guess if it's with the area with Mission Breakout being right behind it. So I don't know. We'll see. As far as the Spider-Man attraction goes, it's looking to be good. I was just slightly disappointed when Disney released their latest press release, but I think that I have judged too many Disney attractions in the early stages and then regretted it a little bit later on when I wrote it. So I'm not going to be quick to judge this one quite yet.
I think the cool thing with Mission Breakout right there too is just the fact like how early on they did it and how confused everyone kind of was, and all the things that were coming out, and people were like, why is this happening? Why are we losing why are we losing a classic Disney attraction? Yeah, like why is this happening? But it just shows, or at least we can assume that it shows that there was a master plan. There was an Avengers campus down the line.
Yeah, they had something planned, because I'm sure that they had this plan way before time, before they even announced Mission Breakout. So we have to hope Disney is following. Yeah, exactly. Unless they were just like, Mission Breakout was actually a success. Now let's do Marvel Land. Right. But who knows?
You never know these things.
Another thing that's I thought was pretty cool is they're going to be, of course, this was not a surprise by Disney, is they're going to be actually offering spider bots, which are the little enemy robots that you're trying to destroy in the actual attraction, the storyline of the attraction, that go rogue. Across the way is the WEB supply store, which is Worldwide Engineering Brigade, where guests or kids of all ages will be able to build their own spider bot. Do you think this will be more of an experience like the Infinity Gauntlet in the Mission Breakout store, or the Droid Depot, or in the middle?
I think it's going to be kind of a mixture, but I think the most important thing is thinking about how genius that's going to be, because after kids ride this thing, what are they going to want to purchase? Probably one of those bots. So
they look pretty cool too.
They do look pretty cool. I mean, I look at them myself. I'm like, dang, like, am I going to want one of those and throw it on my desk or something?
Exactly. It'd be the perfect thing to just have there on your set or something.
Especially if it's going to end up being like the iconic thing of that ride, like if those spider bots are going to be the thing that people go home remembering.
And it
about
seems
the
like they
ride.
are. They're like the big storyline thing.
So, man, I just think it's genius, A, that we're going to be able to purchase them. But as far as the actual experience, I think we're probably going to get that little combo aspect, like you were saying. I think it's going to be a little both.
Yeah, because with the Infinity Gauntlets, they announced that they were going to be, you'd get the chance to build them in Mission Breakout, but that originally wasn't where you could build the Infinity Gauntlets. Right. It was actually further into Hollywood Land by Monsters, Inc., where like the Avengers are currently stationed at, and then they kind of just moved it to the Mission Breakout store. So it's just kind of a small little area, kind of like how you can build your own custom lightsaber outside of Star Tours.
Yep.
And I feel like that's why it's a smaller thing, but I feel like the way that Disney is advertising it and the way that they showed it in their press release, they're trying to make it more into a hybrid, which is really neat. I also like how they have different skins of the different Marvel superheroes. Like there's an Iron Man one there. It's not just the Spider-Man version. I think that's really neat. So it gives
genius.
I mean,
they're thinking about how to repurpose, the exact same thing pretty much just across the board. So it kind of suits
it's
everyone.
Working for a business standpoint and money standpoint. It's definitely working for Disneyland.
Heck yeah.
As long as they keep on making stuff like this and not like cheap little toys, I think I'm all for it, because like the Star Tours lightsaber thing is kind of pointless now. It's like a cheaper version of Savi's Workshop.
Right.
So but if they keep doing stuff like this, I think it's a good thing for Disney.
Absolutely.
Another thing that was announced was the Pim Test Kitchen. We
Yes.
already knew that was coming, but we have the food options and
Yep.
the concept art for what it's looking like inside. And I don't know about you, but I am really surprised on how it looks like inside as far as aesthetically goes.
What surprised you?
The overall structure of it, I thought it was gonna be more of like kind of like how Docking Bay 7 is, where it's just
Okay.
kind of more rugged and stuff, and like they have the futuristic aspects to it. But this looks really, really futuristic in a
Yeah.
way. So that's one of the surprising things to me. And I also thought there's going to be a little bit more of the giant foods everywhere. I don't know. Do you think
Gotcha.
that there's going to be more giant foods outside of it, like outside the building? We know there's going to be that giant beer can.
I would hope so. I mean, if that's like the theme that they're going for, you would hope there's a little more. But man, did you see the technology that's rumored? I guess for the upside down filling beer, or the
Oh
the-
yeah,
the-
yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
guess
man.
that's used like in pubs. I guess internationally, like quite a bit. That from what I've learned.
Really?
But man, how cool is that? I just feel like that's so genius for them to incorporate that as well.
I think that Disney has, with this in specific, I think that they've done a good job at making creations, because when they open up these lands, they obviously try to create these unique food or drink options, but
Right.
these are actually really unique. They're not just the same food option, just in a
Mhm.
different style. They're actually, I mean, that giant chicken sandwich. It's a tiny bun with a huge piece of chicken breast. Tell me how you're gonna finish that alone.
it's gonna be a challenge, but I think it's cool, like you were saying, that they are going forward with the theming, even on the food. Like it doesn't stop at just walking in and having some of the same treats from around the park in the same or in a new restaurant, so to say. They're literally taking the theming to the food too, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and also they're gonna have a separate like kind of bar for the adults. So if their kids want to go have fun in the land or wherever they want to go have fun, there's another drink option for adults.
Yep.
I think that's gonna be really neat. They haven't released concept art for what that bar is gonna look like. I'm assuming it'll just be a traditional bar, but that's also a really neat thing because there's different flavored drinks. They also have the I don't know if you noticed, they have like these little plate things like they would have in Oga's for like little snacks.
Cool.
There's like a couple little pretzels in there. So that's really neat. I think that Disney has really hit the mark with the Pim Test Kitchen, and like I've said on social media and in my videos before, that is the most thing that I'm excited for Avengers Campus. I'm excited for Spider-Man, don't get me wrong, but I am so excited for the Pim Test Kitchen, only because I know I'm gonna drop tons of money in there.
I'm right with you. It's that one's gonna hurt my wallet for sure, but I
Exactly.
can't wait to get in there and try some of those things and just see the presentation. Like I think that's one of the coolest things that's one of the things that actually gets me excited about spending my money, is seeing the presentation that'll happen too. I think that's really cool.
because you want to be spending your money on things that are worth it.
Right.
And the food's one thing, but the presentation is also another thing. You want that full experience. So I think that's going to be really neat. I think that Disney's going to do a good job at that. Like I said, I think this is going to have, well, even though it's not having the Docking Bay 7 vibes as far as aesthetically goes, I think that it's going to kind of feel like that. Not to that extent, but I think
Sure.
it's going to feel like that.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to see if there's going to be indoor seating or outdoor seating as well, as we go
That's a good
back to
question.
the small space stop. It looks like it's going to be a grab and go where you traditionally go up, you order your food, and then you take your receipt and they get your
Definitely.
stuff ready. So who knows? Maybe they have enough room back there, but with the giant building of Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure, who knows? Especially since they have to. That's one thing that, let's talk about this a little bit, is
Sure.
how with the concept art, it looks like there's going to be like a plaza once you get towards the back area where Mission Breakouts is, where the Avengers headquarters is, and the Pim Test Kitchen. Do you think it's going to be more spread out? Like, take Bugs Land and minus the trees.
Right.
Do you think it's going to be more like that, or do you think it's going to be more squeezed in and just really compact?
I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's going to be this monstrous, huge, spread out area like maybe the concept art almost kind of wants to make us feel like it might be.
That's
I mean,
weird.
The space is just. Maybe we'll be surprised. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, maybe they cleared out tons of space for whatever reason.
There would have to be quite a lot done for there to be as much space as there's being portrayed. So I think the way that I'm picturing it and the way that I kind of expect it on opening day is for it to just feel like enough space. I don't think it's going to feel like some massively spread out world like kind of we're used to being developed now more recently, but I think it'll feel like enough. It'll feel like a well-themed area of the park.
Yeah, and I feel like because there's also going to be the character meet and greets, obviously, and I think that's that Avengers building for right now as
Right.
part of Phase 1. They're going to purpose that for the character meet and greets until they get the Quinjet e-ticket attraction up next year, potentially. But they also said that there's going to be times where there's not scheduled shows, but just like little street shows where the Black Widow villain Taskkeeper, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? They're like battling him. So is that just going to be randomly thrown in the streets, or is it going to be like on top of the building? That's what I'm confused about, because it seems like they're jam-packing a lot into this small space, especially with, I guess I can transition us into the Doctor Strange live show, the Sanctum, that they have described it as. Do they even have space for that? I mean, how big scale is that show going to be?
So we're hearing a decent amount about inland entertainment.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of it. We heard a decent amount for Galaxy's Edge as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
you bring up a fair point here. You bring up a really fair point here.
So I don't want to say it's going to go down that road, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see as many things, let's just say, that's being discussed today. I hope it's the opposite, though. I hope it's the opposite, let's say, of Galaxy's Edge. Like they were discussing a lot, and we got kind of the amount that we were expecting, but not all of it. I'm hoping it's the opposite with this. I hope we do get everything that they are discussing and everything that we're kind of expecting. But then again, let's not be historically. Let's not ignore that. Let's keep in mind that as much as they are saying, it is very possible that we might only get a third of it, or even half, like whatever it ends up being. But at this point, as long as there is some form of inland entertainment, I don't know as far as like the spacing issues that you were bringing up, but as far as we get something that makes this land feel a little more alive, and like there's something happening, like there's actually superheroes roaming the streets. This is actually an important area. I think it's going to be a success. It's just maybe the thing it has going for it is the fact that it will be a little more gridlocked, so it won't be as spread out as Galaxy's Edge. So as long as you do put a few characters in this small area, it will feel alive. Galaxy's Edge is more spread out, so you kind of need a lot of characters. So who knows? I think it'll kind of come down to what we see over the first month, depending on inland entertainment and how successful it looks. But I'm hoping it'll live up to what we're at least discussing right now.
Yeah, and like I said, you bring up a fabulous point with that, because Galaxy Edge they promised us a lot of shows, and we don't have a lot of shows. The most we have is like one that I rarely see is like when Kylo goes up to the stage in front of his ship, and that's about it, and he walks through the ship. That's really about it. In Disney World, however, they have a couple shows there, not scheduled, but they do have quite a bit more entertainment than we do over here. So that's interesting. That is one thing to keep in mind. Disney could be advertising this, but this may not even come till next year, a part of Phase 2.
Yep.
We could be wrong. We could be proven wrong. We're just looking back
I hope we are proven wrong.
I hope we are too,
because
because
so I hope we're proven
I love entertainment. I really do love the entertainment in these different lands. It just brings more of an essence to the land and makes you feel more immersed. So who knows? Hopefully we're wrong.
Yeah.
But as far as the Doctor Strange show goes, that is 100% confirmed. That should be coming, because unless they're just going to have the stage there or whatever they're going to do it on, more of a platform, I'm feeling like. Unless they're just going to have that there for guests to look at and take pictures, and that's where Doctor Strange is meeting.
Yeah.
That show, whatever it may be, or demonstration is 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
So at least we can look forward to that. One form of entertainment. But that goes back to the fact that it could be one of those things that, like, Kylo going into his ship.
Exactly.
We're just trying to look at two different perspectives here.
That's what I was about to say. I hope it kind of is like the Kylo thing, because that does happen. So
exactly. I just hope it's scheduled, though, not just random.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, yeah. I hope it's scheduled. I just hope it's not random, because, I mean, for people like us who go to the parks and want to look at this stuff and enjoy this stuff, then what do we do? How do we know when it's going to come on, rather than asking the cast member?
And you just wait.
You just sit there with your Pim Test Kitchen unique drink.
Exactly.
Enjoying it. And one last topic I wanted to talk about is the Phase 2 version. Well, number one, is Phase 2 getting pushed back? Do you think it's getting pushed back now with the whole virus situation going on? Do you think that they're even working on Phase 2 at the current moment as far as development goes?
I don't know how much necessarily they're working on it, but if I had to put a percentage on just what my own gut feeling is telling me on what they're working on, I would say it's either 100 to 0 Phase 1 or maybe 90 to 10 Phase 1. If they are working on Phase 2 at all, I would be pretty darn so substantially. I would be surprised. I think their efforts are completely looking at phase 1 just for the fact that they do have a hard date that is very soon, and we've all seen the progress of where it looks like. So I'd be very surprised if they have any sort of if they have a decent amount of manpower at least going to phase 2.
I think that they're working on the technical side of it. I just don't think that they're
right.
working on any part as far as on-site goes.
That's what I'm saying.
Other than the facade, because they need to do the facade in preparation for phase 1.
Of course.
But and one thing to also know about this attraction is they'll have a whole year, if they are going to open it in 2021, they'll have a whole year to focus on just that attraction rather than focusing on the land itself.
Exactly.
With Rise, they only had, about a couple months that they had to finish it up. I mean, they were working on it throughout the time that they're building Galaxy's Edge, but to really finish it up,
they have a lot of time to finish this one.
They have plenty of time, and they haven't even set an opening span of when it's going to open yet. They just said phase 2 will be coming, and that will bring the e-ticket Quinjet attraction. Have you seen, from what you've seen from the concept art, what type of ride do you think this will be? What kind of experience?
That's been the question, and that's one of those.
It's a hard-hitting question. It is really the hard. That's why I'm asking you, because I get asked it all the time. Trust me.
That's one of those things where like I talk about it, but it's just me like just giving them my best guess at how they could potentially pull off this sort of excitement and like flight and stuff. And my head keeps taking me. I try to stay in the realm of things that Disney's actually done. I'm not going a Rise of the Resistance route on this one and trying to...
Oh, definitely not,
no.
no.
I'm not trying to come up with some unique combo ride system that they came up with specifically for this ride. So something that I've actually turned to quite a bit is something similar to Flight of Passage. That's something that I thought could potentially work in this scenario, but I don't know. I think we're way too early to make any definitive guesses. But when people have asked me, like, hey, what do you think? I've kind of gone that route.
Yeah, because in a way, the concept art, like with showing the riders, it could look like that.
Yeah.
I think that it'd be really, really unique for Disney to do. However, I don't know. I've also been hearing people say that it's going to be like vehicles that you can split off into.
Yeah.
So that is obviously making hints to a trackless ride, but I don't think it'll be a trackless ride. And there's also been talks that it's going to be simulating the movement of flying in the Quinjet. So, like, what the hell? We don't know. There's nothing that like we can really guess on at all, which sucks because I mean, yeah, it builds anticipation, but there's nothing that we can, as us theme park bloggers do, we can't speculate on this at all, really.
The second that we start getting more information as to what this ride system could potentially be, I think that's when things get really exciting because that's when we can kind of put together what we're up against. It like you said, right now we're in that, it's kind of like a dark period where we literally all we know is kind of what the concept art shows us and then taking our best guess at how they could potentially pull off this sort of ride. I said earlier I didn't want to go the Rise of the Resistance route as far as guessing, but I'm kind of hoping it goes the route of a ride system that we haven't necessarily seen Disney do. So even though I did say Flight of Passage earlier, I'm kind of hoping it is a unique combo ride system that, attaches a bunch of different things into one. I don't think it'll obviously be similar to Rise, but as long as they do something ambitious and it's to the level of Rise, man, Disneyland Resort just became one heck of a resort. I mean,
oh yeah,
Marvel
with Star Wars, different. They're like, Marvel on one border and Star Wars on the other border, and two amazing attractions that like wow, and it'll really split up crowds too. A couple of subtopics. Do you think that a Spider-Man adventure will use the virtual queue? I mean, they've already said that we're going to get Fast Pass for it, but do you think it's going to use a virtual queue?
I don't, based on the concept art, but obviously the concept art can be misleading as well. Strangely enough, I've seen a lot of pictures being posted today of people seeing virtual queue stuff like on their apps and stuff.
Oh yeah,
coming through.
Yeah, I just wrote a full article about that.
Yeah, there you go. So I guess that is something that seems to be moving forward, and more attractions are going to be looking that way. But I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything personally yet, so no one's pitched that to me yet. So across the board, I do this on my account too. I try not to just guess and say things that aren't based on at least some sort of factual element. So I'm not going to say and be like, yeah, it's happening when I haven't heard anything. But just a best guess, I think it's possible, but I'm not convinced just yet.
The only one thing that could like lead us to believe that is either this whole virtual queue thing like on the app, or one thing to lead us away from that is the fact that the demand for this ride is not going to be nearly as big as Rise of the Resistance.
Right.
So, but like you said, there's not really any facts to tell about it. It's just more like guessing right now. But that wraps up
down the line. I will say this before we go.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Down the line, I agree with you that it won't have that same demand. But on opening, I think it's
on
gonna
opening, everybody will be there.
Even in the first year, whatever it takes to get the next attraction, right? I think when people come to Disneyland from wherever they're from, or California Adventure, of course, and from wherever they're from, and they hear, wow, there's a new Marvel Land. Wow, there's a new Spider-Man ride.
Especially Spider-Man being
right?
like a household name in the superhero realm.
So I do think it'll have substantial interest and weights, even though maybe the attraction may or may not warrant it. That'll be said in time. But yeah, I don't know about the virtual queue. It's tough. It's tough, but it will have demand. I do think it'll have heavy demand.
Is it tough? It's gonna have heavy demand.
Yes.
It's gonna be one of those things. Like in my eyes, I think it's gonna be like Falcon to Rise, in a way.
It will be 100%.
Especially if they release a little bit more news as for the Quinjet attraction before they open up Spider-Man.
That's
then
true.
I think that it'll be exactly like that.
Absolutely.
But happy to get your thoughts on all this Avengers Campus details, Dustin. It was really fun talking to you, and like I said, guys, it's supposed to open on July 18th. We don't know if that's going to be the confirmed date. Disney has not come out and released a statement saying we're changing it because due to the whole virus situation, which, like I said in the past podcast, stay positive, everybody. We're right here with you. Me and Dustin have been talking about this. Got to keep everybody positive. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we're trying to do right now, is keep everybody positive. We'll all get through this together, stay inside, and wash your hands.
There you go.
But follow the Theme Park Shark on everywhere. Like you said, if you just type in the Theme Park Shark at any social media or YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find him. Literally, the Theme Park Shark. Dustin, pleasure talking with you. You are a great person to talk to, and I look forward to us collabing in person one day when the parks open back up, because right now we kind of all are on self-quarantine.
This is the best possible collab that we could do
exactly
in this time. So I like you said earlier, we're kind of making the best of the situation. We're staying positive, and I really do appreciate you having me on. It was a blast being here.
Yeah, follow Dustin on everything. Thank you for coming on. You can check out our podcast on Spotify and on YouTube. You can see me right now. The only reason you can't see Dustin is because he is on some restrictions for the virus to not get to his equipment right now. So that's the only reason why. But as far as YouTube versions go, you're going to be seeing my face and the guest face. And on Spotify, you'll be hearing our clean, crisp voice like this. So I'm really excited. This is the second podcast of my little rebrand of podcast. So you're the second guest, second
Awesome.
official guest.
That's amazing.
So follow on Spotify, subscribe to YouTube. Thank you all for 4K. Real quick, thank you all for 4,000 subscribers. We just hit that today. That has helped me boost my confidence. Thanks, man. That has really helped me boost my confidence for the times that we're being in right now.
I love it.
Follow us on social media at SoCal Exploring Media on Instagram and at SoCal Exploring on Twitter. My name is Scott. I've been talking with Dustin, the Theme Park Shark. We'll see you all later. Positivity is key. And most importantly, remember to keep exploring. Peace out, everybody.